It's Wednesday. Actually, no, it's not. It is Friday, and I am here for your late, out of date AEW Dynamite review. But it doesn't matter how long you had to wait, 'cause I'm TNT. I'm Dynamite. TNT, and I'll win the fight. TNT, I'm a power load. TNT, watch me explode! Yeah! Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. And speaking of exploding, I could explode all over Mina Shawakira. You talk about Dynamite. Look at the power. Look at the pack that she is punching with. Holy shit! If there was ever such a thing as Mina Shawakira on a pole, if we could get the breasts in wrestling to be on a pole hanging above the ring, I would legitimately fight Brock Lesnar for real. I would go into that match and I would have no gloves on and I would fight Brock Lesnar for a 0.0000000 half of a 1% chance that I could beat the Beast and I could climb the pole and I could wrap my hands, or I could attempt to wrap my hands around the massive boulders on the chest of Mina Shawakira. I'd probably get like an 8th of them. Maybe I'd need to go and get surgery to try and increase the length of my fingers to see if I could just wrap a little more around there. But you talk about the golden prizes in wrestling, you talk about titles and brass rings and all this shit, you talk about what people have climbed ladders for to try and grab the money in the bank. Fuck the briefcase. I want to take Mina Shawakira home. In case you don't know, guys, I'm a big fan of Mina Shawakira, but enough talking about her. We'll talk more about her later. What we need to talk about now is the beginning of Dynamite. And you know what? I actually relatively enjoyed watching Dynamite. This is an easier watch than WWE. It's an easier watch than Raw. It's an easier watch than SmackDown. I'm not necessarily saying that the quality is better, although I actually thought this was a decent show. Well, I say decent. I thought it was better than what I've been watching lately. But it's just easier to watch. It's faster paced. The segments flow better. Not everything is dragged out and slow and boring. You look at WWE, you got Roman Reigns. 15 minutes later, he gets in the ring. Then he starts caressing his little beard. Then he'll rotate his jaw around for 15 minutes more. And then like an hour into the segment, he's like, insert name of city. He'll look around for another 10 minutes. Acknowledge me. And then at this point, Roman Reigns has been on screen for like an hour and 15 minutes and nothing has happened. All he's done is come out with his theme song, rotated his fucking jaw and said acknowledge me. At least I've noticed on AEW, TNT, you just get faster paced stuff, okay? It's just better. It's faster paced. It's more enjoyable to watch. It's easier to watch, right? So MJF's out there. He's pissed. He wants his rematch. He wants his title back. He wants to be world champion again. He calls last week the Seattle Screwjob. He cannot believe that he lost to Darby Allin. And he wants his rematch tonight. And he's going to beat Darby Allin again and become the champion. But he doesn't get Darby Allin. He gets Kevin Knight, who somehow became TNT champion. I don't know how it happened, but Kevin Knight, guys, is your new champion here in AEW. At least the TNT championship. I don't understand what happened, but he basically says, MJF, why don't you try and beat me? And he says he's a fighting champion. He says he's willing to put his belt on the line. MJF looks at it and goes, you know what? Maybe I should take your belt as well. So Kevin Knight says, anytime you want that match tonight, let's do it. MJF says, nah, not tonight. Next week, damn it. So, yeah. There you go. Kevin Knight wanted to be world champion as well, but for all we know, he might not even be TNT champion after next week. A decent segment. We then get Chris Jericho in the Demand. Ricochet's bragging about beating Jericho at Dynasty. Jericho calls him a bald prick, and I like Jericho. I'll never not like Jericho. It's just a shame that he's 55 years old now. Why can't we wrap Jericho up and put him in a time machine and freeze him? If we could have frozen Jericho at 35 years old and just continued to have him be 35 years old and wrestle, then holy shit, wrestling would be great right now. If we had someone as good as Chris Jericho, if we had a prime Chris Jericho, then wrestling would be watchable just for that one person alone. But unfortunately, what we've got here is a 55-year-old Jericho that's been missing for 9 months. But here, I still enjoyed it. The demand say that Jericho needs to find a tag team partner, 2 tag team partners, in fact, for the match at Collision, and he's not going to be able to do that because nobody likes him, says Ricochet. And Jericho's like, I don't need to find 2 people that like me. I just need to find 2 people that hate you, you bald prick. And he walked off, and I like this for Jericho. This was pretty good. Right, up next, we've got Brody King versus Lio Rush. Hold my hands up, guys. This is the one match I didn't watch, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I did. Brody King got the win, and then said that basically respect to whoever wins the title match tonight, and he kind of wants the first go at them. So that was that. We then get Tommaso Ciampa backstage, and he's like, I'm championship material. I want to win the belt. And yeah, that's it. He thinks he can be a champion. He thinks he can be the AEW World Champion. And you know what? People are saying, oh, he made a mistake leaving WWE. No, he didn't. First of all, he got a lot more money in AEW. That cannot be denied. Okay, the guy's making bank in AEW, whereas in WWE, he would have been, towards the lower end of the main roster payers. So, from a financial aspect, it made sense to go to AEW. And also, with WWE, it's very stagnant. It just doesn't feel... And I'm not saying Tommaso Ciampa should be a main event guy by any means. Not am I saying that. However, in WWE, it almost seems like they have a role for you. They have a place for you. It's the same people in the same spots. And once they put you in that spot, you don't really move from it unless you're like a one-off talent. Maybe like a once-in-a-lifetime or whatever, once-in-a-generation talent where maybe they'll say, all right, we can move you up here, move you up there. But for the most part, once WWE find a spot for you, I mean, if WWE views you as a lower mid-carder, it is very rare that you're going to get the opportunity to overcome that and move up the ranks and become a world champion. And if they view you as a main eventer, then you're probably going to be kept in the main event, even if you fucking suck. We see that with WWE all the time. Not many people actually move up or move down the card. It's very stagnant. The only time people really seem to move is whenever there is a retirement or an injury, and that seems to open up a spot. But, even Becky Lynch called it the other day, it's the same 3 or 4 guys main eventing, and that is kind of true. And I just feel like if WWE view you as a world champion / main event guy, then over the next 5 years, you'll probably win the world title multiple times and you'll stay in the main event. And if they view you as a lower mid-card guy or a comedy act, it's going to be very hard to break that. Going to be very hard to break that mold, and you're unlikely to go from a lower mid-card guy to a world champion. I feel like in other companies that's different. I feel like in other companies, within a short period of time, you can get pushed up the ladder, or it can go the other way. You can go from main event guy down to, lower mid-card guy. I see that happening in AEW. I see that happening in TNA. And it looks like it's kind of happened with Tommaso Ciampa. I know he came in straight away and won the TNT title, but now the guy's getting a world title shot. And it just seems to be if you actually want to try and make something of your career, WWE's not the way to do it unless they already view you as a top guy. So, yeah. But if you look at WWE, even they bring up people from NXT, whatever position they put you in, that's where you seem to be. I mean, look at Julia and look at Stephanie Fakir. When they both came up, they almost positioned Fakir straight away as a main eventer, and they positioned Julia as a mid-card talent. And both of them now have been on the roster a year, and Stephanie Fakir has always been in the main event of the women's scene, and Julia has never broken out of the mid-card scene. And that's a year, and nothing's really happened. Is Julia better off than she was when she first got called up? No. Is Stephanie Fakir really moved? No. She's had the belt, she's not got the belt, but she's still viewed as a main event woman. So, it just seems to be wherever they place you once you come up from NXT, it's very hard to move. So that would piss me off. If I was in WWE, I'd want I'd want the option and ability to prove myself. Right, speaking of options, speaking of ability, got Adam Copeland calling out FTR. He says that they're not the greatest tag team of all time, but they are one of them. And if they want to prove they're the greatest, all they need to do is beat Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Copeland and Cage want their rematch for the titles at, is it Double or Nothing? And they're willing to put they'll put their careers on the line. So Adam Copeland says if FTR beat them, Cope and Cage will never team again. And he says he would accept that challenge, but he's a real man. Basically saying that these two are not. So be very sad if Cope and Cage never got to wrestle again as a team. That would make me sad, but anyway, what didn't make me sad up next was Mina Shawakiwa and Hikira Shida. So we got, you know, a double dose of the Japanese in here. I mean, how can you not like Mina Shawakiwa, man? Just Jesus, curves fucking everywhere. Curves. I mean, words can't do her justice. Anyway, she gets beat with the Falcon Arrow. We had Statlander running in, hitting her with Shida's kendo stick, and then Shida picking up the victory. I think it's sad, man. I think Mina Shawakiwa should be a champion. I would have pushed her and all this stuff, but whatever. Not the case. Yeah, Mina lost this match, but justice for Mina. Maybe next week or something she can get a win. Who knows? I think she should be champion. I mean, she's very attractive, massive chest, nice looking ass, you know, very nice personality, just radiates, you know, like fun. Yeah, I don't know, I think Tony Khan has dropped the ball on Mina Shawakiwa. Right, we then got Will Ospreay versus Mark Davis. Now, I have no idea who Mark Davis is, but I was surprised that he pretty much beat Will Ospreay into a referee stoppage. I mean, I don't really understand that. I mean, when I last watched AEW, like, Will Ospreay's always been treated as like a top guy, and Mark Davis is a fucking nobody. But I guess that goes to show that in AEW, you know, you can move up and down the ladder. You can kind of, you know, 1 minute look like a top guy, then the next minute you're getting beat by a nobody. So whatever, but yeah, Mark Davis wins by referee stoppage, and then we get the Death Riders. They come out and they carry Will Ospreay away. They abduct Will Ospreay. They kidnap Will Ospreay. I'm just sick of this, you know. The Death Riders have been around too long. I think they need to go, and I don't like Marina Shafir pretending like she's the baddest bitch in the group, or she's the, you know, the toughest person in the group. She's the one that stands between Moxley and everybody else. She's the one that we're supposed to believe is the most intimidating and the most threatening. It's like, she's a fucking woman. I mean, at the end of the day, she's a woman. Yeah, she's an MMA fighter, and who knows, maybe she is tougher than a Wheeler Yuta, okay? Maybe she is. But why are we pretending that, like, Marina Shafir is better than a Claudio Cascanoli? At least Claudio's got this insane strength. We've seen this guy's strength. I mean, Claudio could probably pick up the average guy and just tear his limbs off, you know, from what we've seen this guy do. Very powerful. Now, he's a boring bastard, but I will give respect where it's due. Claudio is very powerful, and he should be treated like the number 2 in this group, but it's almost like it's Marina Shafir, and she's the enforcer, and she's the one that's going to stop anybody getting to Moxley. You know, it doesn't really make any fucking sense. But you know, whatever. You know, whatever. When you look at this group, she seems to be positioned as second to Moxley. She seems to be like the real threat of this group. The one that's going to, you know, sort shit out. The one that's going to beat people up. Just very strange. Anyway, we then got Samoa Joe returning. Apparently he's been gone. He faced some jobber that I've never heard of in my life. I'm not even saying this to be funny. I've never heard of this guy. I'm assuming that he is a independent local enhancement talent and not a member of AEW. I don't know what his name was, and he didn't look like a wrestler, and Samoa Joe beat him in like in 1 minute, so whatever. We then got a backstage segment with Jericho. He walks out of our locker room. Renee Paquette's there. She's like, well, Jericho, did you get your partners? And he's like, oh yeah, I got him. And then we see Shelton Benjamin walk out. We see Bobby Lashley walk out. And then we see MVP walk out. And it's like, holy shit. I mean, these four have a combined age of like over 210. And that's mental. It must be. Do the maths. Somebody find out the age of all these guys. But it must be close to like 210, if not more than 210. And Jericho is all smiles. MVP says, you know, it's never personal, it's just business. So some people are comparing this to the APA, which I don't agree with, because the APA was always funny, always entertaining. The added good comedy APA did to the show. I'm not going to go and say this was great comedy or whatever, but it was an acceptable segment. It was an okay segment. And yeah, it made sense in my opinion that Jericho would go to these guys, because yeah, it seems to be just business for the Hurt Business. But again, wouldn't business mean there would be some sort of exchange? Like, shouldn't Jericho be giving them something for this? I just feel like that's where they dropped the ball. I mean, like, what is Jericho giving these guys for them to think that's worth our business, that's worth our time? Anyway, I like the segment. I like Jericho. I think Bobby Lashley's been wasted in AEW. He really should be a world champion, but it is what it is. We then move on to the main event. It is Darby Allin, and he gets confronted by MJF. So Darby Allin's trying to talk about, well, I'm going to be a fighting champion. My 15 minutes of fame could be up if Tommaso Ciampa beats me, but I'm here. I'm here to put this belt on the map. I'm here to fight for AEW, all this shit. And then MJF comes out and he says, Darby, you don't deserve shit. Give me my rematch right now, or give me my title right now. But Darby tells MJF, nah, MJF, you ain't getting shit. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, you ain't getting nothing unless you put something on the line. So Darby Allin wants MJF to put something on the line. What could that be? Could it be his gold ring or whatever he's got? Could it be money? Could it be his career? We don't know, but Darby Allin is not fighting him unless he gets something in return, something on the line. And then he says he'll put the belt on the line against anybody other than MJF. Anyone else in the back who deserves a title shot. And then Tommaso Ciampa comes out, and it's Ciampa versus Darby Allin. And the match was okay. Ciampa was busted open. In the end, Darby Allin wins with the Scorpion Deathlock. I mean, I guess he stole it from Sting. I don't know. But yeah, he locks it in. Ciampa taps out. I mean, the match was okay. Then after it, Brody King comes out. He says he spoke to Tony Khan, and Tony Khan says with his permission, if Darby says yes, next week on Dynamite, it'll be Darby Allin versus Brody King, and Darby Allin accepts. So, looks like Darby Allin's going to be a fighting champion. I did say this. I said this is how I would book Darby Allin as the AEW World Champion. I would make him be a fighting champion and put on all these like hardcore car crash matches every single week. Darby Allin's not a guy, in my opinion, that should be having 2-month feuds or whatever and defending the belt 4 times a year. Darby Allin's a guy that should pretty much be doing title defenses every show. Every fucking show. And yeah, that maybe looks like what he's going to be doing. Now, some people are upset with Darby Allin being champion and they want me to bash it. And I'll be honest, in 2019, if you told me Darby Allin was going to be the champion of AEW, I would have laughed. I would have said wrestling's embarrassing. I would have said that wrestling is dead. However, over the last 7 years, wrestling has been dead. Wrestling is embarrassing. So we're at the point now where I look at Darby Allin and I go, well, this guy is one of the pillars of AEW. He's been there since the beginning. He's got a lot of passion. You know, he fights for AEW. He legitimately puts his body on the line. This guy has taken some insane bumps to try and impress people and to try and make his matches better. I mean, we talk about wrestlers, they don't do anything risky. They don't put their bodies on the line anymore. Darby Allin does put his body on the line. So therefore, I'm not going to sit here and bash the guy. I'm not going to say he is a horrible world champion. If wrestling was still good, I would look at Darby Allin, I would look at the fact he became a world champion, and I would laugh my ass off, and I would go, this company is a disgrace, and whoever made this decision should be embarrassed, and whoever made this decision should be fired. But you look at wrestling now, and it's like, really? Is Darby Allin winning the world title really killing the business? No. It's not. In my opinion, it's not. The business is already fucking dead. So, I'll give Darby Allin a chance. You know what? He'll probably be a more exciting champion than Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. I'll say that for free. At least the guy's going to come out there and actually put his belt on the line and fight on Dynamite. Unlike Roman Reigns, who will have about 2 title defenses the entire year. So, fuck them. Fuck those guys. Was it a great Dynamite? No, it wasn't. But I thought it was enjoyable enough. I thought it was fine. Yeah, I'm going to give Dynamite I'll give Dynamite a 3 out of 10, guys. A 3 out of 10, and that's one of the better ratings that I have been giving shows. So yeah, I'm going to go with 3 out of 10. I enjoyed Jericho. I enjoyed Adam Copeland. Always good to see two legends. Always good to see two legends that are lefty and righty on Mina's chest. And Darby Allin, you know, I don't think that this is not the worst thing I've seen in wrestling. There's been a lot worse than Darby Allin, let's put it that way. So yeah, I'm not a Darby Allin fanboy by any means, but at this point, why not give him a chance? Let's see what he can do. Let's see what he can do. And who knows, maybe we'll get some crazy car crash stunt matches for this guy. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, that is it, guys. From Fog Wrestling, your AEW Dynamite review. I thought it was an acceptable standard of show for 2026. And I think that's the highest rating I've gave a show in a while, to be fair. A 3 out of 10. So yeah, that shows you how bad wrestling is. I'm giving it a 3 out of 10, and it's like the highest rating I've given in fucking months. So yeah, catch you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.